What is good? What is good? Welcome. Trash and Talk Podcast, Episode 4.
Quattro.
I am Wayne, the garbage man, Owen. This is Kurt, Big Daddy Goetz.
What's up, people?
How you doing today, Kurt?
Doing great, man.
Feeling
great.
good?
I feel good, man.
Nice.
You know, my knee's been a little screwed up because I fractured my kneecap, but other than that,
My knee's been hurting too. I think it might be the weather.
could be.
Be that little crisp night air coming through.
It's coming through. It definitely is coming.
Shit's changing. And that's where I don't believe in the whole, fucking weather change, all nonsense that they're trying to send money to polar bears. What do polar bears need money for?
Polar bears like Coca-Cola. You ever see the commercial?
Oh, shit, man. I remember those.
Yeah, they like Coca-Cola.
A good Coca-Cola.
Nice
It's
ice
good.
cold Coca-Cola. Or Diet Coke if that's what you like.
No, you know what the best is? And it's crazy because I don't believe it, and I don't eat the shit no more. But McDonald's Coke is by far the best fountain soda out there, bro. To die for. When you're hungover, after you had a few cocktails the night before, and you need a good cold, crisp Coca-Cola.
I would say the greasy cheeseburger is what straightens me out.
Oh, yeah. See, I don't do that anymore. So, since having kids, I mean, granted, growing up when we were working, probably how many jobs did we work at one time, all the time?
Yeah.
2, 3 jobs. So you were always on the run. You were always, eating shit, eating garbage, and hence the garbage thing. But we were always just not eating the right stuff. And now, once I had kids, it's like, not that I did the research, but it's like I just can't feed that to my fucking kids.
Well, it's the easiest food.
100% when you're running around sports.
When you're running around.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, I give it to parents with that. I'm not saying parents, F you if you feed your kids that. I'm not.
No.
I just don't feed it to my kids anymore. I don't know even what happened because we were like me and Wendy. That was like our date night.
Well, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen to your kids. Would you like me to fill you out?
They're going to eat it in a few years.
In a few years, they'll be in a closet upstairs.
eating McDonald's
fucking
French fries.
McDonald's fries and cheeseburgers.
They're going to be closet
nuggets.
fry eaters.
They're going to be closet McDonald's eaters. All because you fucked them up as kids.
Closet D's.
You fucked them up as kids.
They're going to be all closet.
Let them have a couple of fucking
They're going to be in the
McNuggets.
McCloset.
Yeah, they will be in the
They'll be in the
McCloset.
McCloset.
They're going to come out with barbecue sauce all over their lips. I didn't do nothing, I swear.
Ketchup package.
swear
We'll be
to
like,
God.
one of them's bleeding. No, there'll be a ketchup packet underneath their pillow and shit. No, but it's, and like I said, I don't frown upon it. Whatever. You feed the kids there, you're on a go. I get it. A lot of parents are running from sport to sport or school function to school
100%.
function. Totally get it. But I don't know. I don't know what happened. And it's not like me and Wendy ever said, like, don't feed our kids this.
Yeah.
It's junk, because there are parents out there that are fucking cuckoo, man.
Well, maybe
like,
you just felt like you don't want your kids eating that shit.
well, to believe it, I don't know if you'll believe this, but I mean, I cook pretty much every night.
No, I witnessed that coming to film the podcast.
Yeah, like you saw, I was making pizzas one night, and I may not even make the healthiest food, but I feel like if I make the food home, it's just, it's better for the family.
It's not sitting in a vat of grease.
Exactly. Exactly. No, but you know what's in it, number one.
Yeah.
You know what you do. Yeah, I mean, granted, I'm making chicken. I don't even know if it's fucking chicken.
Why not be?
We don't know what we got nowadays.
Could be raccoon, like a little friend.
Oh, raccoon kings. But no, to be honest, it's just, I enjoy cooking. I truly do.
Some of the best times that I've lost weight is prepping my meals.
Yeah, because you know what's in it.
Yeah.
And you have control over it.
It's the problem with fast food is you're in the car. For me, it's a little different. It's just laziness, because my kids are growing up. I'm divorced. They live with their mother. I see them a lot, but a lot of the time I'm just driving home. It's a lot easier for me to stop.
Yeah.
Wendy's.
Feed them and then do your next stop.
Oh, anyway, and anybody.
Yeah, and it's just, and I get it, because like I said, you get the kids, you're feeding them, and then you have hours to spend with them.
Yeah.
And it's not costing you $325. at, you know, one of these restaurants or something.
If I add up what I spend a week on takeout,
Yeah, let's not
I'd probably
do it.
throw up. I'd probably throw
You'd
up.
probably
because
throw up if you ate McDonald's too, but you know, who's who?
I don't go to McDonald's because it's all the way down Midland Avenue.
It's too far away.
And then the one in Eltingville, on
But that's
Eltingville
good.
Road, is always fucking packed, and I gotta get out of the car so I don't drive through. Wendy's, 2 seconds.
Yeah, Wendy's. I mean, there's, you know, I know people who eat Wendy's. It's all the same shit.
It's all the
Let's
same
be
shit.
honest.
There's nothing's healthy than it.
No. And like my mother-in-law will, you know, give my kids like Burger King. They'll get it when they're at her house. But what am I going to say? They're staying there. She's watching the kids.
Listen.
I can't fight with her. Like, I need you to make them a home cooked meal. Like, no, that's not realistic. So I don't even know how the hell we got into talking about this.
You
but
did. You're a freak. Anti-fast food.
No, no, honestly, I probably did because, you know, right now with the kids not being here all week, I've been missing my kids a little bit. They're at their uncle's, you know, Uncle Will.
And he's giving them McDonald's.
Probably every night. No. They're awesome cooks, actually. Aunt Dee, Uncle Will and Aunt Dee, thank you very much for this week. Although I don't know, like the kids are not here all week. They're enjoying their, you know, time up in Connecticut with my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law, and she's probably cooking gourmet meals for these kids. But my kids do eat everything, so they will eat it. But like me and Wendy are home, and like we don't even talk. Like it's like we have nothing to talk about because the kids aren't here. We're going to bed 7:30 at night.
Do you need me to come over?
No, I mean maybe you could text me to keep me up at 7:35.
If you want, I'll text you.
2 nights in a row, I'm like, 7:30, I'm going to bed. I have no reason to be up. And I say it all the time when I tell people I go to bed at 8:30 when my kids are here. If my kids are in bed, I got no reason to be up.
Okay.
I'm not a TV watcher. I don't like I don't get into like.
Maybe you should get yourself a little TV show to get hooked on.
Maybe I should have a TV show.
I think you're jumping the gun a little bit with that.
No, like a little Sanford and something. Maybe we'll go around with this. We'll get the mics and the cameras, and we'll go around and collect people's garbage.
I like that. And then we interview them.
And we'll interview them and say, why did you throw this out?
Why did you throw out the leopard print panties?
Yeah.
Just curious.
We're just wondering, man.
They look like they're in good shape. I think I could get $5
You
for
could
them.
have sold these on Facebook Marketplace for $3.
Oh, Facebook Marketplace. You can buy anything on that.
Especially if they're dirty. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Now you're veering away into stuff that we shouldn't be getting into.
No, but the kids are having a blast. They're up in Rhode Island. I'd never been to Rhode Island, but, you know. But my brother-in-law and sister-in-law are awesome. And also thank the family that they're with. They're awesome as well for taking them in for a few days up in Rhode Island at a beach house, and I appreciate all that. But I actually had to turn on my my little guy's music, his night music, because I couldn't sleep. It was jamming me all up. I don't know what it was. Like, I guess the TV goes off, you know, when you set it on sleep mode. And it would go off, and then I would wake up like 2, 3, 4 in the morning. I'm waking up every hour because I don't hear anything, and it like freaked me out. So I would have to get up, look around. But yeah, I guess I'm just missing the kids.
You'll see when the kids get a little older, like my kids.
Yeah, like your kids are off to college. You know,
Yeah, Gerald's
you're
in
in your
college.
second college now.
John's in getting his master's for teaching. Kylie's a senior. She's busy too. She's like volunteers. She's on the board for the Honor Society.
That's awesome.
She's a captain of cheer. She's already back at school with cheer. They had just had tryouts.
Yeah.
So like their summer ends kind of early when they're involved in stuff. Gerald's already back at school. His first day I think was today. Kylie's already back with at Newdorp. You're doing stuff with cheer.
Yeah.
John starts next week, but he works. So they're all busy. They're all older. Things get different. The one good thing that really kept me with the kids a lot, like being divorced is tough, but they all go to the gym.
Okay.
So like yesterday, the best was the day before Gerald left. You know, John's been so busy, hasn't been able to go to the gym. It was me, John, Gerald, and Kylie.
All four of us.
All four of us, and my nephew Dominic.
Okay, cool.
The day before Gerald left. So we all got to spend time together doing something that we all like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, you've always been a gym rat. Like Kurt,
Yeah.
believe it or not, people like, and not like, what he looks like now, but, Kurt's always been like an on and off gym guy.
Yeah.
You've been on and then, you know, whatever. You always happen to hurt your knee, your this, your
My
that,
shoulder,
you
my
know.
back.
Yeah, your dick. I don't know. You always hurt something and you always like take time off.
They used
And-
to call me Kurt Down.
yeah, exactly. And I'm not being like I'm not trying to be a jerk off, but like it happens everywhere. So you can't, like, everybody goes through those stages.
Yeah.
But there were times where I'd be like, this fucking guy. So I would come over, and when we weren't working in the same garage in Staten Island at one point, like I would see you, and I could tell you got a little, you know, healthy. And I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Like, what the fuck's going on? Because I know you're not a heavy drinker. I know that, you know, like, because I know some people that could go off on the edge and get bigger, bloated, like from drinking. But listen, you were getting older, and that shit now, I just said it to myself on the way home. Like, I want to start going to the gym again, but I was never a gym rat. You've always been a gym rat.
It's let me tell you, it's so much harder as you get older. Well, first of all, you get set in your ways, right? So I was always like, lift heavy guy. I don't lift like that anymore.
Well, because didn't you blow out your shoulder?
My pec, when I tore my pec, it totally changed everything.
Yeah.
Because the tear I got on my pec, I tore it at the muscle. So it was like the way he described it was sewing two tatted T-shirts together. I have to be careful. So he would go, he go on the bottom of the report, it says, no heavy bench pressing indefinitely, like for the rest of my life.
Forever.
So I said to him, I go, well, what's your definition of heavy? I said, because I could warm up with 225. I could do that 25 times.
Now he's going to start throwing numbers out.
No, I'm just saying. So I'm like, what's your definition of heavy?
Okay.
You know what I mean? He goes, you know what? He goes, you know what I mean. So I lift nothing like the way I lifted back then. And it's just, it gets depressing because in your head, you know, you're getting older.
You want to do certain things.
You want to do what you did when you were younger.
Yeah, but...
And the results don't come the way they did when you were younger because it's just, you're older and the process is a lot longer.
Yeah, but they say that. They also do say that, like, you know, as you get older, you should change your whole regimen and, you know, now don't go for the weight, but go for the
reps.
The reps, yes.
Yeah,
that's what I
100%.
was watching a bunch of guys, you know, who say, like, now it's not about the weight now. Now it's just toning up and being steady and being where you want to be, kind of.
I had a couple of good years with the boys. Kylie is more recently, last couple of years, working out with us. But I had a couple of good years with the boys where they seen me lift like heavy.
Yeah.
Like deadlifting 500 pounds. Like
Yeah, but that's
crazy
good
shit.
because then they see, like, oh, shit. You know, it's just like anything else, you know, with a father, like, oh, you know what? I want to fucking be like that. So they probably looked up to you in that way. And then that's what got them into the gym.
Yeah.
Like, I never had anyone that went to, I don't think anybody in my house went to the gym growing up.
I loved it, man. Well, when we were kids, I want to say like 12, my father had a whole gym set up in the basement. We didn't have money, you know?
Yeah.
So we, you know, the Sears gym set with the leg extension thing.
With the sand-filled weights?
Yes.
With the red and gray
Yes,
weights? We all
exactly.
had that shit.
And then
I used them to hold
we had a
doors
heavy
open.
bag that my mother made.
Really?
Yeah, they stuffed it with
Fucking
clothes.
Mrs. Goetz.
Yeah, stuffed it with clothes
God damn
and
it.
sheets and stuff like that. And she's, you know, she made the outside out of like pleather or whatever. And we had a heavy bag. So my father had us down there when we were young.
Yeah.
You know, hitting a heavy bag, lifting the weights. He would come down and show us what to do. So I was always around it. And then I'll never forget, I was probably 14 or 15. And I always worked in my uncle's shop. When my brother passed away, I was young.
Mechanic shop. Auto body shop, by the way.
Yeah, my uncle owned the shop. So when my brother passed away, I think my parents were like, this kid's got to be somewhere. He can't be like roaming around. My whole family was messed up. My brother was 17. He died. My other brother was 15 when it happened. He was his best friend, so he took it really bad. They were so into watching Steven and making sure he was going to be okay. I think it was easy for them to put me, no, not forgotten about, but they sent me to my uncle. So I worked there. And then I was like 14 or 15 years old. And my uncle's like, roll this car down from up the block. Right? So I rolled the car down. Now, the car was there for probably like a no-start problem.
Yeah.
You're 14, 15 years old. You don't drive. You don't know if you can't stop, jam on the fucking e-brake, right?
Yeah.
I'm coming down like a bat out of hell. I'm hitting the brake and ain't doing shit.
That's why it's there.
I hit a car in a lift. I hit 2 toolboxes. So my cousin Mario, who's like an older brother to me,
Yep.
you know, he's
Around him a lot.
Yeah, he's been around me my whole life, and he's like my older brother. I look up to him. I always did. So we were closing at that time when it happened. So he's like, listen, I'm going to pick you up early tomorrow morning. Come to the gym with me. And then we'll go from the gym and then we'll straighten out this mess when we come back from the gym. So it was my first time going to a real gym.
So that's where you got the gym stuff from?
That's where I got the gym stuff from.
Okay.
Like really like hardcore wanted to be a gym guy.
I thought he was going to drop a weight on your fucking head. Because you just destroyed his whole shit.
He's the reason I got heavy into the gym was because of my cousin Mario.
And even with you bringing that whole thing up, that like you kind of, you drove a car into the goddamn auto body shop doing probably 50, but
auto repair shop.
What was crazy is like when we were kids and we did stupid shit, or especially around our uncles, even around our fathers, we used to get a little smack here and there in the back of the head, or my father used to throw sneakers at us. Whatever he had near him, he would hit us with. But it was like 5 minutes, it was over.
Yeah.
It was like, all right, how do we fix this situation? And my father always did that for me. And, it was like, all right, you did this, you fucked up, all right, let's just move on. Yeah. And that's kind of where you get to now being a father, and you're like, there are times where I'm like, I just want to smack the back of my kid's head. But I'm like, but for what? Like, it gets you nowhere.
When they're younger,
just real quick,
you're more short fuse, you'll say.
Yeah, but real quick, why I was saying that was because, like, being an older Italian guy, he could have beat the shit out of you and you could never walk in the auto body shop again. He would have kept you out of it. But no, he didn't. He said, hey, let's go try to do this, more time together. Yeah. And then he brought you in, and now you've been working there, 30 years?
Yeah, on
and off.
When I got hurt.
Well, I'm saying on and off. You worked there for like 30 years.
My whole life.
But when you needed some cash,
I couldn't go there no more.
Hey, I'll come do some hours.
He was there for me. Listen, I learned 2 different ways of life. He was almost like I had 2 fathers.
Yeah.
Because when he died, it hurt a lot. I have two mass cards. The cards you get, the little cards. One's my dad, and one's my Uncle Angelo. Because they were like my 2 dads growing up.
Yeah.
They were like everything to me. So he taught me like how to be in like a business sense of a person, and to be stern. And like his motto was like always, business is business. Family's family. Yeah. This is something different.
Yep.
You're working. You're here. You work. You're not. I'm his nephew. Of course, he's gonna look out for me. But this is business. We gotta. We gotta do the right thing. And then I learned all the stuff that I learned from my dad. So I had 2 men that were very important in my life: my father and my uncle.
Yeah, and I mean I think that all goes back to we were talking about getting to Staten Island on sanitation. But it all goes back to when we did get on Staten Island as sanitation workers, but we grew up on Staten Island.
Yeah, so and changed the game a little bit.
Yeah, and well, it's just more of, we grew up on Staten Island, the old Staten Island. Let's put it that way. Yeah. It's not Staten Island now.
I know, I agree with you.
Well, we grew up on Staten Island. Even your neighbors that weren't your family, I still call neighbors that weren't my family my uncles and my aunts. Yeah. My cousins, they're not my cousins. Yeah. But it was the old Italian way of your closest neighbors, people who helped, everyone helped each other.
Well, that's where I think Staten Island gets a bad rap too.
Exactly.
Like how everybody makes fun of us and this and that. People don't really know the community, the family, the way everybody sticks together in Staten Island, and everybody's got each other's backs. Even now, the ones that are left that you still know that still live here.
Yeah, certain neighborhoods are still tight.
Yeah.
They definitely are. But, I remember growing up in Staten Island, and like I lived on a dead end. You backed down it plenty of times. And like I'd just say there were 15 houses on the block. 13 of them were my actual family.
Yeah.
It was all my aunts and my uncles. I mean, thank God that I was a fat, chubby kid, because, one of the games we played when we were younger was run, catch, kiss. And they were all my cousins, so thank God I was fat. Because then it would have been like, I would have been, up Schitt's Creek with that one. That's not the way to go. So anyway, that was crazy. But, you grew up with your family as, like they always say, your cousins are your first best friends. Yeah. Other than your brothers and your sisters and stuff like that. Yeah. But, your uncles and your aunts, like they took you in because your parents were working, whoever was around helped your parents. Like that's what they did. Everybody helped each other. Yeah. And your uncle bringing you in. I remember my first jobs. It was always, who got you the job? Oh, my cousin, my aunt's friend. Yeah. Like it was always that way in Staten Island. Yeah. And that's why Staten Island back in the day, And like I said, in some neighborhoods it still is. But it was nothing like, it was just crazy. Like, they could talk all they want. Staten Island was nothing like what you see when everybody thinks of us now in Staten Island. Oh, you're from Staten Island? They hear your accent.
Yeah,
you're like, oh, you're fucking assholes. You're fucking, you're Guinea. What are you doing your hair and this and that? And it's like, no, that's not what Staten Island was. Staten Island was like the most homey place.
Yeah, you felt safe.
Felt safe. You had a lot of close friends.
Yeah.
And the neighborhoods were so tight. It was nuts. Like, I just, and it's just not there anymore, and it sucks. No. Like, everybody starts to slowly move away, and it changes everything.
Well,
this episode is brought to you by Magic Cobra Tattoo Shop in Brooklyn, New York. Check out both of their locations, 667A 5th Avenue and 775 Driggs Avenue. Go see Woods and the rest of all of his great artists. We thank them for all their support.
With the like when you said with us coming to Staten Island. So when you're in Manhattan and you're picking up garbage for nobody, people you don't even know.
Yeah, you have no idea.
And everything changed the game when you came to Staten Island, and you're doing a route. Sometimes I know how we say we don't see a lot of people 6 a.m, but you'll see some people, or it depends on if you're on a different shift or it's snowing out. You would see your family members, you would see friends, you would see their mother, you would see this one, that one. And you took a sense of pride in like doing their block. If that was the only thing I could do was put back my aunt's pail and made her look like everybody in the block going, why is he putting back her
who
pail?
knows this guy?
How do you know
she
that?
know?
Who does she know? But it made me feel good, that I could do that for them. Not that it's a big deal, but it was, my family lived there, so I took more pride in it. Not that I was like an animal in Manhattan, I didn't take pride in it, but it's different.
Yeah, you don't
I know so many people from Staten Island.
It's not close to home.
No, and it was, you just took more pride in your job when you were on Staten Island.
Yeah, and you were with me plenty of times on the truck where, I would get a text or a phone call. Hey, I'm getting rid of a couch. Yeah, just put it out. Yeah, and we would slide by and, grab it. And or even we were in the plows. Like, hey, if I was on a detail, and you were on a plow, hey, Kurt, do me a favor. Can you
hit this plow?
Can you go up and get this one, that one? Like, I had a list of people when it snowed. Hey, go do my mother's block. All right, no problem.
Let's get into that a little bit.
So
let's get into the plow.
Yeah, and that's when
how the real snow removal.
That's
happened.
when it got real for us in the snow.
Yeah.
We've spoken about how, when we were in Manhattan, we would see some 12-hour shifts.
Yeah.
But we were still young. It didn't affect us.
Yeah.
It was like, whatever, kind of way. But when we came to Staten Island, because like we said, in Manhattan, there wasn't a lot of snow equipment. So there weren't that many shifts where it was like 14 days straight that we were running 12-hour shifts nonstop. We all looked like zombies. Like the guys were just like miserable to be there because we were just driving in circles. And it was a real wake-up call when we came to Staten Island.
Oh, yeah.
And to be honest, I lived near the garage all my life. You know where I live. And it was just crazy where I would get a sheet of paper with these streets on it, and I've never seen any of the streets. Because I didn't know the blocks. I didn't know the names. Like, a lot of the names, I had no idea.
Well, look how it was for me. So my first garage I came to was Staten Island 1, right?
So you had no idea.
I had no clue.
Yeah.
I had no clue. As bad as it sounds, I had no clue about all the hills in Staten Island.
Oh.
I lived in Great Kills. It's flat.
Yeah.
We lived in the Berries only for a year of my life. Stephen was like 5 and John was 7. And then they moved to Great Kills.
Yeah.
So all I knew was flat streets, whatever. I knew Bay Street, maybe
the Terrace.
The Terrace.
Because it took you to the ferry.
And I knew like where the jailhouse was. What block is that?
Jailhouse, Van Duzer.
So I knew those blocks. That's all I knew. Where the bars were. That's it. I didn't know that block hillside.
Oh, my goodness.
Or any of them crazy hills. The one that you had to go up. It was like this, and then you had to pull into like a piece of the woods to back up the rest of the way. I was like, you got to plow this shit?
Yeah, and I don't know timing-wise of when it was, but it was, like I said, we were thrown into the fire there. Because now, you're talking, we went from garages with 3, 5 maybe at most
wasn't a lot of
salt spreaders.
Wasn't a lot of equipment.
Now we go into a garage with 40 salt spreaders. I mean, I've never
and then
seen so many.
And all the holsters
Well,
and
you
the front end
had,
loaders.
you had like 22
and the dump trucks.
full blown, and then you had the dump trucks for the highway. Then you had the holsters, the small street holsters. Then you had the small plow holster. Like, it was nuts.
Yeah.
There were spreaders everywhere. And I remember like the first few days, they were like, "Oh, you're on the highway," and I was like, "Wait, what?" Like, so there's a tandem. So what we mean by that is you'll have 5 garbage trucks with plows on them going down the highway, and one's out a little further than the next, kind of to make it like a line on an angle down.
Yeah.
And they'll be blowing the snow to the left, but you have 2 spreaders behind them.
Yeah.
And it just, you go all back and forth and back and forth.
That's I see. That's not a bad idea for a guy that's new on a job and not too familiar with the equipment,
The streets,
because it's just easier. It's just on the highway, get off the off ramp, come back on. It was monotonous. It was crazy. You were like, this sucks.
It was awful.
But
I remember one year, and I don't know what the timing was, but I'm in. That's when we got the flowing dumps.
Oh God!
So originally we had like bigger spreaders to do like these things with tanks. People, there was no keys. You just hit a button. Remember those like diesel guzzlers?
Yeah.
The smoke used to come in. The smell used to come in the truck.
It's horrible.
It was like this massive box. It was awful. But anyway, those were the ones on the highway. Then they went to a dump truck that had a conveyor belt down the middle.
Yeah.
And they were called flowing dumps. And it had a massive front end, a big ass plow on it. It was crazy. And they were made for highways. It was perfect.
Set that gate to 7 and put the speed at max.
But now you were the one guy. So now you had the tandem in front of you, and now you were the one guy, the one spreader on the highway behind it. That's how big this thing, when they say flowing dump, you did one path, the truck was empty. You had to go, all the trucks waited for you. You went, you had to fill up at the salt dome, and then you had to come back, and then you did it again, and then went and filled up. But, dude, I'm on that one night, that detail, and it was a blizzard. And you remember how the windshield wipers used to freeze up.
Oh, God, I hated that.
So it was like a rock.
Couldn't see shit.
So I'm pulling on it, bam, trying to break it off.
Yeah.
Dude, I pull it, boom, the thing snaps in my hand. My windshield wiper. So now I'm driving on the highway, I got no windshield wiper. And I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do? So now I'm calling my boss on the side. You should have not been using my phone, of course, but I'm like, dude, you got to get me off this highway somehow, some way. I can't drive like this.
Yeah.
Thankfully enough, I had the plows in front of me. I pull off. He comes behind me. He's like, what are we going to do? He's like, I got to go look for a windshield wiper. So I said, all right, let me know. I mean, I know my way around a car. My father, that was one thing he always taught me. I did my oil changes. I did my brakes.
Yeah.
We did all that stuff ourselves. Me, my sisters. He would buy us the car book when we bought a car. Here you go, the $30 book, and it tell you everything about the car.
Yeah.
What bolt, what nut, what screw, whatever. So anyway, I jumped on the hood. A blizzard going out, freezing on the hood. Took the other windshield wiper off and put it on my side, just to be able to get to Staten Island 2 to get a windshield wiper. Because they didn't have it at 1.
Well, we would do stuff like that. You'd finagle it just to get to the...
Yeah, you had to make it work. And there was some questionable equipment that we had from the city. And whatever, they got what they got.
Well, it was all hands on deck, so they would just throw shit out.
They're like, oh, yeah, I had this truck last week in a snowstorm, and this was broken. That was, oh, yeah, we fixed it. And then you're out there, and it breaks again, and you're up Shit's Creek. But yeah, we were thrown into the fire, and it was a learning curve.
Definitely, but it was also good in a way because they kept the junior guys away from, like, you remember the truck that used to do, it had the small plow, it would do up by Wagner College.
Yes.
Up on that hill, all those hills, right? So I knew for a fact when I came in, I wasn't getting that, thank God.
No.
It was usually like Mondito, or something like that who did it all the time.
Some of the other guys that
the guys
really
that were in that
like
section, 11.
Their names.
And there was 11, right? Yeah. And they knew what they were
11
doing.
Section. Well, they worked in those streets. They picked the garbage up there, so they knew like the tight the turns and stuff.
I got a good.
But now, Kurt, the thing is, with all this happening, everybody would make you laugh because they'd be like, oh, you'd be getting crazy phone calls all day. Oh, my snow hasn't been plowed. This hasn't been plowed. First off, you got people shoveling all their shit into the street. Right? I know I just went down a block.
Yeah.
I'll show you on the Raz track, they call
now,
it.
now you can.
Yeah, so back then they didn't have
any of that.
But yeah, people throw the snow back in, so you're battling that all night. You're battling, people come home from work. Now there's cars everywhere. Nobody digs out, so the cars are 1.5 to 2 feet out into the street. You know, plenty of times where I just sat on a road and I couldn't move.
Yeah.
And I'd be calling a boss, hey, you got to come here, but he's stuck with another truck, and wreckers are pulling trucks out of hills, and it was crazy.
The best time was when they would call a state of emergency. No, and people weren't allowed on the streets. People still will go on the streets, but not many. It was usually just people going to work or whatever. But that was when it was fucking balls to the wall, bro.
Yeah,
you were banging U-turns with that plow. You were flying because there was nobody out. There was nobody around.
Well, the weekends too.
Yeah.
The weekends were the best. Or if they canceled school, they were helping us, believe it or not. Because
without a doubt.
When they would say, oh, you know, light flurries, and it happened all the time, and it still happens. Light flurries coming tomorrow.
Yeah,
so they still exactly what they still have school going in.
Yeah.
So you have all the teachers, all the parents, all the kids, everybody going to school, and then we wake up and 6 a.m. we walk into there's already 8 inches on the ground, and now it's a 30-inch storm. But now they didn't cancel school early enough. You still have all these people on the road. It's an absolute disaster.
I know everybody gets pissed being behind a fucking plow truck or a spreader. But if you haven't been in it, you really don't know how fucking frustrating it is.
Yeah, it's tough.
Totally frustrating. You're in that son of a bitch the whole fucking night. There's no bullshit. You come in for lunch. You take your break wherever you are. So you pull up in front of a deli on your route.
Many dinners and snacks in those trucks.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah,
I'll never forget though. One time I'm in a spreader, and I got railed. I get to like, oh, you're gonna take the sand cop with you. I'm like, motherfucker.
Oh, that was the worst.
I'm like, why do I need this guy? He doesn't do anything.
Well, real quick. So the sand cops. First off, we never spoke about that, but let me do that real quick. So sand cops, when he says that, sanitation worker cops, sand cops, they call them. So what it is when we first got on the job, we totally forgot about this part, but they said, all right, who wants to have a 9mm?
Yeah.
And I'm like, excuse me? But you can't use it.
Yeah, only at work.
You're an enforcement agent, so you would hand tickets out, but you would have a 9mm
not really
on.
Enforcement. They were real cops.
No, but I'm saying you were enforcement. When it comes down to it, what were you doing?
Stakeouts and shit.
Yeah, exactly. They were eating steak out. That was about it. Fucking what was Russo doing? Come on now. Fucking guy got bigger and bigger every year. But anyway, nothing against him. He was a good dude. But no, and they were like, oh, you can't use the gun. Your only job is to have the gun if they shoot at you.
Yeah.
It's fucking garbage. Who's going to shoot at you over fucking garbage?
Well, my cousin told me, because they came up to you. They came up to me at Randall's, wherever we were.
Yeah, Randall's. Yep.
And the guy's like, you're Goetz? You're Sarai's cousin? I go, yeah. They're like, you want to join Sam Police? Well, come down here for an interview and blah, 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 blah.
You got to do his psych and all that shit.
I call my cousin. He goes, listen, they're going to tell you, you're going to walk into the 122 and they're going to tell you the dumpster's in the back.
Yeah, exactly.
So it wasn't for me, but.
No, I laughed when they said 9mm. I don't need that. I don't need that headache. But yeah, that's what a sand cop is. And in the winters when they weren't out, eating steak, they would come in the trucks with us to help us back out if we get stuck, or argue with people that are throwing snow in the street. So you with this person.
Do you remember the street? I don't know the name. Maybe like Fillmore. These streets. It was a big hill and it was cobblestone.
Yeah.
There was like 2 houses on the block, right? But it was on my route.
I know exactly where you were.
And
that's where I grew up.
To be totally honest, the one thing I took serious was snowplow. Because I always said to myself, what if this person needs a fucking ambulance, and because I didn't hit the fucking block, the ambulance can't get up the block or down the block, and this old lady fucking dies.
We're snow fighters, Kurt.
Yeah. No.
We're out there fighting that snow.
I took it seriously. So I'm going up the block, right? I'm going up. Fucking cobblestone. The fucking spreader's like dying. This guy's just sitting there like fucking half dead, sleeping. So I'm looking at the mirror. I'm like, fuck, this thing ain't spreading the salt. I'm like, motherfucker. So I get to the top of the block, and I could kind of like pull up, and it was kind of like a weird like island block on the top of it. And I turned around. He goes, where you going? I go, we're going down it. He goes, what do you mean we're going down it? I go, I didn't fucking spread any salt. I pulled over and got the spreader to start working. That's I should say that. And he's like, well, what are you gonna do? I said, two things are gonna happen. I said, if we lose control, we either going into. My main objective
is a guardrail.
Is to aim to the woods to the left, or the guardrail in front of that house, and try not to go through his fucking house. He's like, I'm getting out. I go, you ain't fucking getting out of nothing.
We're in this shit together.
I said, we're in this shit together. I'm stuck with you for fucking 12 hours. You're stuck with me for 12 hours.
Yeah.
You want to fucking do nothing? Well, now you got to do something. I went down the fucking block. Thank God we didn't hit nothing. But the guy was being a fucking little bitch.
Yeah, those guys
because they don't do it. They never drove a fucking spreader up a hill like
truck.
that.
No, and that's what it is. When you come out as a sand cop, you don't go in trucks no more.
Bro, the North Shore hills.
Oh, it was crazy.
Fucked up.
I used to love it.
There's some,
I used to fucking love it.
When
I was the cowboy of it,
listen,
though. I loved it.
There was a couple of cowboys. When I got to,
I never got into an accident with that shit ever.
Listen to me, bro. I was with Fisher up by Wagner College, me and Glenn, and I put that motherfucker right up against the telephone pole. I slid up against the fucking telephone pole. Now we can't move because now if I go out, I'm fucking taking the pole down.
Yeah.
So now we're waiting for a wrecker to come and pull us off the pole.
Yeah.
The wrecker comes. They had to get a second wrecker. Fisher lost his fucking phone. Then I think the phone got ran over. It was a fucking shit show. And
that happened a lot,
dude. Yeah, because it was fucking dangerous.
Yeah, I remember. I think Dags took the pole out on Hyatt Street. Oh, is it Hyatt?
By the cemetery.
Yeah,
on Victory.
up near Wagner College.
That was his pole.
He came down and cut the pole in half.
I think it was one by the park, right across from the park. That
near
hill.
The cemetery. Yeah, near the cemetery.
Yeah, that hill.
Yeah. Yeah, he took that pole out. There was plenty of that.
Oh yeah, a lot of that going on.
And we learned that real quick. But we were never put in those situations. They did the right thing, like you said. The senior guys, we were on nights. The senior guys were nights because they would take those routes. They wanted to be cowboys. Let them be cowboys. I was later on in my career, but honestly, there were
later
times.
On, you were in the front end loader a lot, right?
Yes, but also there were times where you know how it goes, where they would have out of towners. So later on. And I see an out of towner come out, and I knew a lot of the out of towners would come in. You would see them constantly in the snow, and I was a steward, but I had time on in the other times. And they're like, dude, how does this route look? I was like, you can't go on this route. And the kid be like, what do you mean? I'm like, you'll die on this block. You'll die on this block. You die because if you don't know, people, you don't understand.
You don't know what you turn.
You could make a left.
Yeah. And
go like a windy road, and then next thing you know, it's a cliffhanger drop. And it doesn't say it on the paper.
The North Shore was fucked up.
You know, we always said that. We're like, so then actually they did come up with, remember, there was a hill route in 11, a hill route in 12.
Yeah.
There was no hills in 13 and 14. Those were flatter.
Yeah.
So there was actually now hill routes because guys were really, it was dangerous.
When I went to 3, it was like a godsend. Everything was flat.
Yeah, it was a different world out there. Yeah, it was a different world out there. But yeah, it was just craziness. And there were some fucking knuckleheads out there.
Yeah.
You know, and listen, I was stupid. I was young. I get it. We were on nights. There was nothing going on.
And you do get a little ballsy when in the middle of the night when you're plowing. You fucking
you know, we were sending waves up. You know, and now I think about it, I'm like, what a fucking idiot. Like, you know, now I'm yelling at the guy who's doing it across my driveway,
hitting fucking mounds like 40 miles an hour.
Exactly, and I'm just getting paid back for it. But yeah, like we were young, we were stupid, we were having fun. Nobody got hurt.
No.
So, but it was just a different animal when we came to Staten Island, and like I said, like Kurt was saying, we lived on the island. We took pride in it. We knew our, mothers, fathers, cousins, uncles, brothers, the monkeys' uncle, whoever it was going to be on those roads. And God forbid somebody got hurt. And because there were guys that, hid around and slept and everything else. But if I had a route, and it had, say, Bard Avenue, like we spoke about last week, Bard Avenue on it, and I know somebody got hurt on that block, and I knew I was supposed to do that fucking block, I don't know how, I just couldn't live with myself. So when they say, hey, you're on a plow all night or a spreader all night, I fucking spread salt all night.
Yeah.
I took pride in it when I looked back in the mirror and the street was blacktop.
I wasn't.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. You loved it when you.
Because it means I'm doing my job.
Yeah, and when you did, like, a lot of times I would grab the route, and especially when I was in 3, I would grab the route that did my neighborhood.
Yes, because you know the blocks, and then if you had to go to the bathroom,
Yeah, all that.
And you
And
know
you're
all your
taking care
friends.
of your own.
Exactly. You know all your friends.
I'm not
Hey,
giving
move your
anybody special
cars.
treatment. They live on the route, but
No.
it was just nice to see everybody.
Yes.
You
And
know, I would stop at the house. My kids would run out and jump in the spreader and just sit there laughing, and it was good shit.
Yeah, when we had Parker, he was petrified. He wanted nothing to do with the spreader. He wanted, it. But if a fire truck came, for fuck's sake, like it's the fucking greatest
They're
thing.
heroes, bro.
All they did is fucking make
We're
noise.
heroes.
But it's the kids were afraid. The trucks were loud, and we didn't have like silent trucks where and when we came through, it wasn't a happy time.
Did you have family? I don't remember them being family day at 1. We used to have it at 3.
No.
So they would have a whole thing like the chief would order tons of pizza, ice cream, all this shit, and you would have your kids come. They'd have a spreader out there, a garbage truck. They could get a front end loader, whatever equipment we had.
They do that now.
We had
These
that.
guys.
We used to do that at 3. I thought that was the coolest thing. So my kids would come and get to do all that. It was pretty cool. But like Manhattan, I don't think you have the room to do any of that, or it's just not as big. You know what I mean? Like Staten Island 3 was fucking ginormous.
Yeah, they include the families a lot more too. But they do it now, and I'll give them a shout out because I was trying to get there. We were trying to get there. I had spoke to Chris Weiser, and a shout out to him and Sean Gould, because they run a nice little thing. They're doing it Saturday at the Marine Corps on Staten Island, where we used to pick up garbage, and they bring all the trucks. They do a really nice thing. We were trying to get there to interview people.
Yeah.
We were just going to bring 2 mics, 3 mics, and cameras just to work on interviews and stuff like that. But I, unfortunately, I got to go get the kids, and timing didn't work out. I'm going to go have lunch with my aunt and uncle. So, whatever. I told them I'm going to get down there one of these years. But they do a nice job. So I'll salute those 2 guys. They get a lot of guys together because we didn't have that in Staten Island 1. We had, like we said, we had the Nasty 9. We had 9 guys that stuck tight together. Did we have other guys we spoke to?
Yeah,
of course. But we all looked out for each other.
Yeah.
We were the guys where if I was off and you were on, you were working, you'll call me, yo, tomorrow, this, and this.
Yeah.
You could go to, this garage. You could go to that garage. You always looked out for each other. You could go out of town, get hours.
We all worked together.
Yeah, because when you used to go out of town, like we spoke about the other boroughs or other parts of boroughs that you would go east, west, north, south.
We'd all go together.
You would get 4 hours in the books. So if you went out twice in a week, you got a day off. So, and that's the way we looked at it. Like I was eating up hours for a long time, until I started
together.
moving.
We'd carpool together. We'd work together out of town. It was good stuff.
Yeah, and it was getting on Staten Island was just more homey.
Yeah.
And I did miss Manhattan, but it was more homey of closeness and just being around the family. And, hey, my garbage didn't get picked up.
I felt like when I would do my neighborhood, because I knew everybody in my neighborhood.
Yeah,
because I live below the boulevard. The blocks are all short.
Yep.
So you knew all the kids in the neighborhood, and no one really left. So I would do the blocks, and you pick up the garbage, and everybody's coming out and talking to you. I mean, you're out there a lot longer because you bullshit with everybody. But I loved it. I absolutely loved being able to do my own house.
Yeah, and
it was good stuff.
I liked
helping
helping
my mother's
people.
house, my house, my mother-in-law, my friends. It was just good stuff, man.
Yeah, and we'll get into more, snow stories, and because the snow stories, man, I'll tell you, we could probably just tell this quick story. So one year, and I'll start it like this. So when there's snowstorms, we fight the snow, right? But then they go chase the garbage that wasn't picked up for whatever, 2-3 days.
Yeah. Mounds of shit.
But they don't put out as much garbage. People become hermits. They sit in the house. They don't have as much garbage. So the foremans go out on the day line and say, all right, there's, this many trash, blah, blah, blah. They count numbers. Still today, I don't know how they did it. Some guys were good at it. Some foremen were fucking assholes. But they'll say, oh, there's like 8 tons out, so we'll give that like, a full truck. There's 5 tons here. We'll split it, give them a full truck here. So they would chase the garbage, but they would only put out so many. Yeah. And in one, you would have literally 100 guys on nights, right? There was only like 6 guys on days, but then all the out-of-towners would come from Queens, Brooklyn, Bronx, all those guys. They would fight it during the day. We would do it at night because we would chase the garbage. But when there wasn't enough garbage to be picked up or recycling, they would put you on bus stops and corner caps. So we would go out and we would have to shovel people. We would have to shovel the corners to where people would be walking into the crosswalks. So we would have to break up the snow because that's where we've been plowing the entire time for the last 3 days. So it's all ice. It's still freezing. And we're chopping away. They would give you 2 shovels, ice picks.
They give you a diagram.
Yeah, like how to do it. Yeah,
what it's got to look like.
Yeah, we would spin the plow, crash it down, blow it out into the street, and call it a day. But, you know, we would do bus stops so people could stand on the bus stops. Were we doing Tiffany jobs? Probably not. But it's like, come on. Like, what do you really expect from us?
Was it me and you or me and Fisher?
With what?
When they rolled up on us, like, how many bus stops did you do? We were like 45.
Yeah, we were like 78. We were just bus chops. Meanwhile, to me, I'd rather do 5 and make sure people could get on the bus. Yeah. And then I know there was an issue with the fire department one year because we were doing hydrants. Yeah. We used to clean the fire hydrants. But they were like, oh, well, why are they getting that overtime? We want the overtime. I think they went out for like 3 days. Yeah, they were like, all right, here's the thing. They said, no, those fucking guys could have it. They didn't want it.
Fucking
but
sucked.
I'm getting to the story because me and Kurt one night, and we probably had like 8, 9, 10 years on. Because when did you leave for 3?
I think like my 12th year, maybe.
Yeah, so just say we have 10 years on. We were out and we were doing bus stops and corner caps. And the nights get boring and you just start like, it's almost like you're hallucinating, like you're on drugs. You're laughing at shit that's not funny.
And every day blends in together.
Exactly. You don't even know what hour it is anymore. You're working nights. You're working from 7 at night till 7 in the morning. We were probably on a week plus, 2 weeks plus.
Yeah, sometimes 2 weeks.
So we decided, and it was probably one of the best nights we ever had. We laughed for hours. And now I still don't know why it's even funny. So we decided, I don't know who, it was probably me because I'm like that, stupid like that. But we decided to start building snowmen at all the bus stops that we cleared. So we started calling each other the Snowman Bandits. Yeah. People, bosses were coming in. Who's building snowmen? And we were like, I don't know. Like, oh, but it's on your route. We're like, you think we're building snowmen? So every day we would go out and put snowmen. And they were like, like 4-footers. We were literally putting 2 snowmen at every bus stop that we would clean. Dude, we had people rolling. Guys on the day line were like, who's building all these snowmen? We had snowmen all over the North Shore of Staten Island.
Oh, it was fucking bad, man. It was
bad.
But
that's what you did because...
And the bosses were like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. And after a while, when they found out it was us, they didn't care. They laughed about it because I'm like, dude, come on. We're losing our minds. It's hours upon hours of just driving in circles.
Fucking monotonous, man.
And that's what you had to do.
And when it gets to that part of the game, when it's bus stops and crosswalks, you had enough.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
You fucking had enough.
It starts to be frustrating because now you start missing your family, especially when you had kids.
Christmas.
Christmas. Oh, Jesus, it's going to snow. And then you had the random guys like, yes, I hope it snows. I'm like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah.
I want to be home with my family.
Fuck this.
I hated the holidays. I don't want
like
the overtime.
Greedy fucking money guys. Yeah. I'm like, yo, motherfucker, I'm working 7 to 7.
Yeah, well,
so
you
I'm
meet
gonna
the
get home
families.
at 7 in the morning. I can't go to bed because I got to open presents with my fucking kids. Like,
yeah, but you meet some of these families and you get it. They come out in public with you where you think you're going to have a nice time, some of them, and they're fighting the entire time.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't go home either.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's what you had, and I get it, but it's more like you start really getting aggravated because now you're like, all right, like how many days are we going to do this? Like bring us back days. Let's get this show on the road. Let's get back to normal.
When you're doing it 12 hours for nights and it's 2 weeks, you had enough. And you would know because guys would be fighting in the garage. Not fist fighting, but fucking arguing, screaming at each other. Fuck you, fuck
They're
this.
fighting over routes.
Bullshit.
Oh, I saw a guy leave early.
Yeah.
What route did he get? They're arguing.
Stupid shit.
That's my route. Like, it's just not, it's petty shit.
It's stuff that happens when you're working nonstop, 12 hours. And we're talking no days off, not just 2 weeks of 12 hours, 2 weeks of no days off.
Yes. Yeah, we didn't have the weekends.
And you're not fucking seeing daylight.
And everybody would say, oh, but look at the money you're making. Yeah. Dude, sometimes it ain't worth it.
Nah, you miss out on a lot.
Yeah, it's this, they would call it white gold. Oh, it's the white gold is falling from the sky. Yeah. And you knew right away what kind of family that guy had. Because when he was there every day and he didn't care, and he probably had a tit job too. He wasn't driving around fucking spreader all goddamn night. because it just was it was awful. But then you'll see guys. You'll slowly see guys start going sick.
Oh yeah.
Chopping them down,
The
chopping them
numbers
down,
start
chopping them down.
dropping.
You had 100 to start. Now you're down to 70.
Yeah.
Now you're down to 50. It's like, Jesus, 50 guys went sick.
Yeah.
Just to get back to days.
Yeah. It was all to get back to days. Exactly what it was.
So,
in hopes of getting back to days. There was sometimes that shit would backfire.
yeah.
You'd go sick and they'd resume you back fucking 7 p.m. or 4 p.m., whatever the fuck they would do. You'd be like, what the fuck did I just do?
Yeah, and
You know?
it was fun. But we'll talk about all the Staten Island snow stuff because I got great stories with that.
Oh, we got a lot of stories.
I just want to try to explain to everybody that when we say 12-hour shifts, you know, I think my longest stint, was 34 days.
Yeah, man. I think I can almost think
I missed a wedding.
I might have topped that shit. I think I had like a fucking 40-day stint one time. I took my vacation too during, this is being greedy. I took one of the weeks because it always would snow the week after the Super Bowl.
Columbus.
So it was, no, February.
Yeah, isn't that's the week that they want to move it? What's that Monday?
That's one of the president's holidays or some shit.
Donald Trump Day? Oh, he's not president. Hold on. No, but yeah, that's the one now they're talking if they go to 18-game schedule, NFL, they want to have it that Sunday. So then the whole world is off on that Monday.
Oh,
the whole country. That's what they're trying to do. Big money, big money.
That back then,
no whammies.
I remember that was whatever year it was almost like 40-something days straight I did.
Yeah, and it was not easy, but I think I
worked
was
a whole
younger.
Vacation, 12 hours a clip.
Real quick, that was when we were doing crazy shit.
Yeah,
we were younger,
yeah.
where I think I had a girlfriend at the time. It wasn't even my wife.
It's a lot easier.
It was just it's a lot easier.
Well, you would look at the old guys, like the guys that were older, like my age now, but I was in my 30s, say, and I'm looking at these guys, 55, 60. I'm like, how the fuck are these guys doing this? And those are the guys, man, the large majority of them.
The 12-ounce curls.
Yeah, and they didn't complain ever.
No,
a lot of them never
they
complained.
enjoyed it.
They just fucking came to work, did this shit. And we wouldn't complain either, but after a while, when you're young and you got a family and you're like, this fucking sucks.
They probably had kids earlier. That's what they did back then. Our parents had kids early, so in their 20s. So that by that time they have 15, 16 years on. Their kids are in high school. They're taking care of their own. They're out fucking sleigh riding and shit. They don't care about them. They're working.
I wonder how it is now. Like all these kids that are getting on now, young kids, with the way it's. I don't know how it's run now. It's totally different. Like everybody I talk to that's still left says how different the job is. I wonder how different the snow end of it is, because we really haven't gotten snow in the last couple of years, like where it was impactful. You know what I mean?
No, and they got to spend the budget.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother thing, people. See, we left that out. So the reason why we were getting all the overtime, and we would get a flash snowstorm in like April, right? We get like 6 inches, right? We'd work 7 days straight for 6 inches because they would. I mean, they had to spend the budget. So New York.
They would pull back on the garbage.
But this is known, everywhere. So it's not like I'm telling fibbing, or some shit. But you would have to spend the budget. So if we had a snow budget or a yearly budget, whatever they went by,
40 million,
$40 million to spend for the winter, they wanted to get as close as possible, because if we went and did 25, well then guess what? Next year's is only going to be 30.
Yeah.
But then you'll get a snowstorm and you'll spend that with the salt and everything else. You go through, I forgot what it was. Every inch is $1 million or something.
How many millions it is?
I think it's $1 million every inch.
I remember one year, like we had like a string of like 3 bad years. And I want to say the budget was at like 60 million.
Yeah, it was bad.
It was like bad.
That was probably when I think we had a 30 inch, and then we had like a 6 inch, and then we had like a 20 inch within like 8 days.
Yeah.
And they were all supposed to be flurries, mind you. I'm making plans to fly. I'm making plans to leave. But yeah, it was, the snow was, and I have said it in another podcast, it's grueling. Like that's what eats you apart. Like it eats away at you, the time away from your family, away from your kids. I hated it. I truthfully hated it. And I know it was part of our end. Like we signed up for this and we're here to help people.
Yeah, that was the main
But once the snow was gone,
yeah,
I was like, fuck this. I'm done.
yeah,
I don't want to be here no more.
yeah.
Once we cleaned the streets, once we were done with that end, get me the garbage. If not, I'm not going to play these games of, doing this and that on night, just bullshit.
Nights was just not rough being nights in the cold. That's it.
Yeah.
No way to say it, dude. 12 to 8. I remember one year I volunteered 12 to 8 for the whole winter with Glenn, and it was like fucking brutal. It was brutal. It was brutal. It was brutal. Those nights, like when you would get like where it'd be like sub-zero, and this is when we had steps, and you'd be hanging on the back of the truck flying. You'd be like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
Hopefully we get a stop soon.
Oh my god, 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 oh my god. You're fucking burning, like you were burning from the cold.
The heat never worked.
Nah.
In the trucks, they said you can't down a truck. This is the fucked up the city
Smoke
is.
would be coming off your head, remember?
Yeah, you can't down the truck if it has no heat. But you have to say, see, these things you learn, you have to say there's no defrost. Because you can't drive the truck safely without defrost.
That's right, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so you get in a truck, I mean, you got to realize the truck's been sitting there all day in 20-degree weather. It takes 35 minutes to warm up. And the more clothes you wear to try to stay warm, the worse it was.
Yeah.
Because now you're running around, you're sweating.
That's when you have the smoke coming off your head.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I started wearing the big hats and all that, but that was later down the road.
You used to have like
I had fun. I enjoyed the winters, but like I said, I would get frustrated when there was no snow left. Come on, let's get back to real work and pick the garbage up and move on with life.
Yeah, I feel you.
I would get frustrated. But then, we had fun. That one night, Jesus Christ.
We made our fun.
We made it fun. Yes.
We made it fun.
I mean, and I forgot this was pretty early, but I think you were gone already. No, because Louis was out in 7 years. So one night, me and Louis, it was typical. We're on bus stops and corner caps.
Yeah.
There's no snow. We can't find any snow to shovel. So they're like, yeah, now it becomes MLP, motorized litter patrol. So now we got a broom and sweep corners. Fuck this shit. So we were having a few.
Remember, it's fucking freezing out.
And we literally had to call the boss and say, listen, boss, we need a ride. And we were in the truck. He's like, yeah, all right, your night's over.
It was tough, bro. It was tough to stay motivated.
Because you would go nuts. It
was tough to stay motivated on those nights.
Yeah, it was frustrating.
If picture to you people that never, I don't know if you've ever worked outside and for long periods, like long extended hours, 12 hours outside, and 20 degrees, it's windy, there's no sun.
Yeah.
It's middle of the night, so it's probably 4 in the morning, 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning or whatever. Nobody around, and you're freezing your balls off, and they tell you, yeah, you're gonna go sweep the curb line over there. I'm like, sweep the curb line? It's fucking 20 degrees out.
It's ice. You want me to sweep ice?
Put us on fucking garbage. You'll start catching up on shit.
Nope.
You got to put me on this? No, they had a certain day that they were going to start.
Say for the money, for the budget.
It's just bullshit.
But then, and like I said, that's when the arguing and the fighting and the frustration would kick in. You'll start going sick. You'll start going,
guys start arguing
emergency.
Over routes. Guys would argue over NLP routes.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck are we arguing about?
To me, it's like, I want to be home.
Yeah, snow sucked.
I didn't want to deal with it. We had that night where we had, I think we all kind of gave up. And it was probably during that stretch of those big storms that happened with us. You were still there. And I want to say there was like 8 trucks total. So there was like 16 guys. And we just found an L street that combined. And it was around like a project house. Right? In West Brighton. Right?
Yeah.
So we literally just all pulled in to this block. And, might have brought stuff with us to enjoy the night. And we literally just sat there all night.
There was nothing to do.
There was nothing to do. They had spreaders out. They had plows out. They had, men doing friggin' bus stops and corner caps. And
you get to a point where there's nothing left.
Yeah. It was frustrating.
They would see that as we got older. I mean, as we had more time on, you would get to you'd make days. Remember, we'd make days.
Yeah,
but it'd be at the tail end of it. So they would be like, they would send you out like 3 guys on the same route. It'd be you and 2 out of towners. It was like weird, off the wall shit.
Yeah,
and there's nothing. There's like literally nothing to plow. And they would tell you, just keep going down the block until you see something. Keep going down the block.
So stupid.
And all you're doing is getting ready to fucking hit shit. So
Yeah.
when we would do that and pull over and all meet up and hang out, the fuck did you want me to do? Drive around all night with no snow and hit
And
something?
risk getting into accidents and everything else. Yeah,
That's
we
exactly
decided
it.
to just have a gathering on our own and said, fuck this job, and that was it, because we were frustrated. But, you know, and it would all come to, you know, you think, all right, there's no snow. I'll be home, you know, 3 a.m.
Nah.
You know, no, you would hear over the radio, mandatory 4 hours. And it's like, what the fuck?
For what?
And like everybody's, you could almost
And then you all
feel
have,
like
you had to go
everyone.
in and everybody gets split up again. Or
Nah, you got to go in now because your seniority.
And
You
you
have to
repick.
do this. You have to do that. Like it was chaos.
It was a lot of bullshit.
And it wasn't fun.
Nah, they
Let's
made
put it that
yeah,
way.
It wasn't.
But to get back to the beginning of it, where it was, we still enjoyed it when it snowed, cleaning the streets and taking care of it because our family was
lived
out
there,
there and there was a sense of pride to it and that's kind of where that like came into effect in Staten Island, because the city, I didn't know anybody that lived in New York.
No, I didn't know anybody.
Yeah, it was, you know,
I had
plowing streets. I had no idea.
Zero.
So,
But I really didn't hit that many storms. I mean, I hit maybe 3 storms the whole time I was in the city, and I don't think any of them were like
numbers,
number wise, like big. But you know, they just put the equipment out, and I was a fucking junior guy, so I was definitely on a fucking holster. I mean, on a spreader.
because there were parts of this, you know, time where they have snow melters. That they were dragging through the city.
Yeah, I remember.
You know,
that.
all the president's coming or this one's coming. They got to get rid of all the snow, so they literally have a machine that sits over manhole covers.
Yeah.
And they use front end loaders to dump the snow in, and it's shooting boiling water while they're dumping the snow in, and it's just flushing into the ocean.
And then the guy that's running that machine's got to clean it at the end of the night. Good luck on that.
Yeah, and I know that mechanic was never happy.
I don't think it was a mechanic. I think it was the guy that was operating it.
I thought it was a mechanic
I don't
because he
know.
had to make
I had to
sure
find
that
out,
the
but-
way they had to clean it.
But I remember, you know, they would clean it out. There'd be fucking 2x4s and shoes and, well, you know, whatever the fuck the front end loader
Whatever
picked
was
up.
in there. But yeah, Kurt, I think that was a great episode 4. I hope we inform people about how crazy it was with the snow.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And yeah, like we say all the time, you know, subscribe, share, Trash and Talk
Please.
Pod
Means
on
a lot to us.
on Instagram. Follow us and email us if you have anybody, friends or yourself, want to come out, Trash and Talk Pod at gmail.com, and YouTube, Trash and Talk, and find us. Please subscribe, like us, share us. The subscriptions are big than, you know, bigger than anything.
Yeah,
so
it's free.
And it's free, you know, and we'll go from there. But thanks for hanging out, and we'll see y'all again. Yeah. And remember, people, be nice to people. You never know what somebody's going through.
Exactly. Be nice to Wayne.
Take care, people.
Have
a
a
great
good day, guys.
What's up? What's up? What's up? Yeah. Get a load of this.